Hello and welcome to another Dungeon Hunter Champions video. In today's video, we are going to be covering Blueberry. This comes as a request from one of our viewers. It's what he had and he wanted to know how she'll work out. As you can see here from the screen, I've already got her 5-star, level 13, and moving on up. I'm going to have to break this video into two parts because I checked and I don't have enough Ascended Essences to actually ascend her. So I'm going to take care of that on Wednesday. Let's take a look at her build. Alright, let me change it to the non-iPhone X mode so that way we can get a cool picture of her shenanigans. I really like the animations here. Let's take a look at her. So for my build, I decided to go Mortal Crit. Now, as everyone knows, I try to avoid Adept when I can. I'm not saying Adept isn't good. Adept just isn't the only solution. Now, full disclosure, Adept would be a good set to put on her. I would still build her the same way, even on Adept. Attack, either crit rate or crit damage, and attack. Take a look at the gear here. You can see that I went Mortal Keen. This is what gave me the best stats for that. You take a look at her numbers here. Of course, she's only 4 or 5-star level 13, so obviously all of this is going to grow. But the important thing is I have a 100% crit and 103% crit damage. I wasn't really worried about accuracy. I'm more concerned with her doing a lot of damage than landing her debuffs. You also notice that I went 100% here. This for crit rate was not intentional. The reason why you don't have to go 100% with this particular unit is because on her second skill, she does have a crit rate buff. This is one of the reasons why Adept would be good. If you do decide to go with less than 100% crit, I would highly recommend Adept, so that way you can lower her cooldown on her Enhance, which raises crit rate. So we go back to the gear. You can see that I am running attack, crit rate, attack. Initially, I wanted to run crit damage here, but unfortunately I couldn't make up enough crit rate and I did not want to go Adept, as I said. I have one more point to get and then basically she's going to be gravy. She'll be right where I want her as far as stats. Now, let's take a look at her skills. So on her auto attack, she has Candy Cannon. Fires jawbreakers at a target enemy from a distance, dealing damage. When enhanced, deals bonus damage to the primary target based on the enemy's max HP. Now this is good. At a glance, this looks like it would be good for any boss, as bosses typically have a high amount of HP. However, this unit primarily I've seen her use in PvP. I have done some boss with her, but her numbers weren't really that spectacular. If you do plan to use her for a boss, my thought here is Adept would be a better option. That way, you would get more enhances from Get Hyper, which will give you more max HP damage to the enemy. Now let's look at Get Hyper. Raises crit and temporarily enhances Candy Cannon, causing it to have increased range, deal bonus damage, and explode on impact, dealing damage to enemies behind the target. So basically, this is a buff that gives her crit. When she does it, it buffs this here. Now, another valid build that I chose not to go with because I wanted her to do max damage, and that is Rapid. Rapid is actually very valid, even if you go Adept and then go attack speed, crit rate, attack. The reason why, because this is on an auto attack. If you have Adept, which lowers this cooldown, which means you're buffing this more, you'll do more AoE damage and attack faster with your Candy Cannon. Because remember, this is the default attack, so attack speed will make this happen more often. If you're looking at that build, I would still recommend Adept, attack speed, crit rate, attack. Let's look at her third skill, Sticky Escape. Fires a blast of chewed bubblegum, propelling herself backwards. Damages and immobilizes enemies. Now, the immobilization effect will be good in PvP. A lot of people do bring immunity, but it doesn't last forever. Manually playing PvP, you can watch for it to drop and then use this to immobilize the enemy. If you do decide to go that route, I would highly recommend investing more into accuracy. Next is It's Raining Candy. Bombards an area with candy. Each impact damages enemies and lowers defense. So this is another one where if you are going to depend on this ability, I would recommend more accuracy. Also, because this is an AoE attack, and when this is enhanced, you also get more AoE damage. If you plan on using her in PvP, a dazzling build could be the better option. If you decide to go with this build where you are going to use It's Raining Candy, plus you have in Candy Cannon, once enhanced, it is an AoE attack. If used in PvP, dazzling becomes a valid set. I would keep the current build at attack, crit rate, attack, even if going there. Instead of using adept, in this case, I would substitute using dazzling. Now let's take a look at her synergy trait. Attack of allied champions by 33% in boss raids. This will likely never be used, as most will use minus 15% cooldown in all situations. Minus PvP. So looking at her, she looks pretty solid. She can be built either PvP or for bosses. It just depends on what sets you have access to. Now, I'll be giving her a run through her paces sometime Wednesday so we can see how she does in both PvP and in boss raids. Thank you, dudes and dudettes, for watching, and as always, stay frosty out there.